everyday witches emerge from the shadows of secrecy. Broom closets are flinging open and witches are taking flight. Whether you are hiding in your cozy closet or flying with pride, stay for a spell as Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon and her guests share magical moments, stir the cauldron, and debunk misinformation and misconceptions about paganism, witches, and our wonderful world of magic.
Hello again. Today our special guest is Suzanne Fain. Suzanne is a tarot reader, among other things, so I will let you listen to what Suzanne has to say about herself. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, Theodora.
So I know you do more than just tarot reading, right? So what else do you do?
Yes, I do the tarot reading. It's very close to my heart. I've been doing that on and off since I was 13. I'm also a master Reiki practitioner. And that's something that brings me a lot of joy because it's a tool I use to help a lot of people either relieve pain, guilt, stress, kind of stored emotions in their body. And when you do that, that can really allow somebody to move forward in their life on a lighter path, I would say. I'm also a business owner. So I'm launching a project with my friend Rose called Sisters of Fate. This is going to be a retail store that has alternative clothing and also just magically minded treasures that have been carefully curated. We're really excited for some of the vendors we'll be including. But on top of that, the reason why this space is so extra special, especially being in Bastrop.
Can you tell us where Bastrop is? Because our listeners are from all over the world, so they may not know where this small town is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Bastrop is about 45 minutes east of Austin, Texas. It's tucked away with some really beautiful parks and pines. We're known for our lost pines. So beautiful scenery, definitely a small town atmosphere. Main Street is just cute as can be. And we are just a block or two off of Main Street.
Tell us a little bit about Sisters of Fate, your new witchy shop, could we say?
I don't mind being called a witchy shop, not at all. I look at it as like a safe space for spiritually minded people. I look at it as a place where we're creating community for spiritually minded people and a safe space for everyone. All are welcome in our shop.
And this is a brick and mortar shop?
It is a brick and mortar. Now, we're going to be running on hours like we're a pop-up just because of how our personal lives work. But we'll have that updated on Google when we're open. We'll have it outside on our door when we're open, communicate that on social media. The idea there is that the shop is retail, which is great. We'll have alternative clothing and magically minded goods. But it's also a space where we're going to hold classes like tarot and do old-fashioned salons where you come and you discuss in a polite and safe environment things that are going on, like social issues or events that are going on. Are you familiar with the olden day salon concept?
The olden days salon concept. Maybe. Remind me.
I'd love to. So today when we hear salon, we kind of think of what's really a beauty parlor, right? You get your hair, your nails done. But a salon used to be, and I believe, and I could be wrong here, I believe it was a French concept, but it would be where ladies would come over and have tea and discuss relevant topics of the day period. So that could be political, sure, but oftentimes it's almost like a book club without a book. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's really important to us to create a sense of community. And so we'll be doing that through events just like that. I plan on holding quarterly meditations. I've got two tarot classes coming up June 1st. It's been a labor of love. I'm really excited for people to see it.
You caught my attention when you said alternative clothing. What is that?
So, when you live in a small town, sometimes your selections are a little limited, and we have some beautiful retailers in town, but they are very minded towards like a preppier, maybe even more country style. Okay. And nothing wrong with that. I literally have a favorite skirt that I bought from one of those stores. But I know when I was a teenager, I was really appreciative of places like Hot Topic and Secret October and Dolls Kill and stuff like that. And so we're having a different type of clothing that's available. So it'll be a little more unique. I hesitate to compare us to Hot Topic or Torrid or even Secret October because we've got a different spice. But think like secondhand clothes or vintage pieces, also new pieces that you're not going to find anywhere in town. We're planning on stocking all sorts of fun things from like Sourpuss, which is a great retail brand, unique vintage as well. So we'll have new and old alike, but it will be different than what you're seeing in town right now.
At your shop, you'll be teaching tarot classes. You've been reading tarot since you were 13, you said?
Yes, ma'am. On and off. We've had a long relationship.
A long relationship. How did you learn to read the tarot?
So this is a funny spot and a little bit of a soft spot for me. When I was 13, my mother was going through her own, midlife discovery, I'll call it. And in that process, she began fiddling with tarot and astrology, and she showed me like the energy between my hands, okay? And I don't think she realized what seeds she planted within me because I was already a very curious person about the metaphysical world, and all of a sudden mom was curious too, and so it's unleashed, right? So I got a little tarot book that had basic meanings in it. And in the back, it showed you how to do spreads. And I taught myself how to read tarot, which took quite a long time. But I've always really used my intuition when I read it, which is not uncommon. And I used to tell people, oh, I'm an intuitive reader. And what I meant by that really is like, yes, all the cards are going to have a face value. Every card has a specific meaning, and that meaning does not change. And that's why tarot is a beautiful guide for perspective. When I read tarot, I'm also getting intuitive messages. Sometimes those are auditory, sometimes they are visuals. And I include that in my readings because to me, that's my guides or your guides letting me know that there's more information or another layer to the card that needs to be shared. So I've been doing that on and off for a long time. I did start doing it professionally in 2019 when the world set itself on fire. I've been doing it much longer than 2019.
And you also are a Reiki master?
I am a Reiki master. I am trained in the Usui lineage of Usui, pardon me. I am trained in the Usui lineage of Reiki. My Reiki teacher is a fabulous woman who currently lives in Austin and may be leaving us for the beautiful beaches of California, Laura Tree. And if you have not seen her, you can see her at Nature's Treasures until she goes. But she is a phenomenal woman, a wonderful Reiki teacher, and has really taught me how you can incorporate Reiki into every single aspect of your life. I know for me, people are like, what is Reiki? And the elevator pitch of that would be, well, Reiki is a Japanese healing mode, an ancient Japanese healing modality that deals with your energetic body. But that's such an oversimplification, in my opinion, of what it is. If you want to look at it from a scientific mindset, I encourage you to look up the Mayo Clinic articles that are on it. It's been proven to help. They recommend it for people that are going through chemotherapy because has been proven to help accelerate the healing process in the body. This is something I've witnessed myself numerous times. I've had friends burn themselves, or I've burned myself, or I've cut myself pretty deeply before and been able to use Reiki, and it does heal in record time. It's also something that when you're having a difficult time in life, and I found this even personally, but I hear it from clients, whether it's pain in the body, which is oftentimes a stored emotion, or if it's just you're genuinely in the midst of grief or discomfort as you change and grow spiritually, it can be a powerful tool to help you along through that process. And when I say help you along, it is not a push. It is a hug. It is a hug that helps you through the process. Reiki means source energy. And so you're just getting juiced up off of source energy, and what could be better?
Do you have a memorable experience where you witnessed someone's transformation through tarot or Reiki guidance?
I do. Tarot, yes, definitely. Normally it's that I spook people when I accurately call out situations via the tarot. And that can be used as like an amazing guidance system, a guidance point. I have monthly subscriptions where people are getting monthly guidance that's helping them along, or like showing them a blind spot, right? And so I have several people there that, in a general term, like over the past year, their life has evolved, or they'll call me when they're having a struggle and say, hey, I need perspective here, which is what tarot is about. If somebody tells you that tarot is going to tell your future, I would ask you to find another reader, because the future is ever changing. The past is done and cannot be changed. The present is where the future is made. And so if you are to leave I can give you impressions of what may happen, but if you leave my office and you take a left instead of a right, and you eat a ham sandwich instead of a peanut butter and jelly, you've already changed the future outcomes, right? When it comes to Reiki specifically, I would note the healing process. Like, I had a friend that burned their hand very badly, and I was there when it happened. We did run it under cold water, but then I applied Reiki for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It never blistered up, and it was a bad enough burn that it would have. Like, it healed very rapidly. I use it on my friends' dogs who are anxious, and all of a sudden I'm their favorite auntie. I had a friend who was going through a very difficult time while her mother was transitioning off of our plane. And you could just see it all over her, the weight of that. Caretaking somebody that's moving to their end of days is a lot heavier than some people understand until they're in that moment. And my friend allowed me, I was just starting out on my Reiki journey, she allowed me to work with her. And over time, I witnessed her mother ended up passing. She was going through her grieving process to the best of her abilities. I was there with her for that. We did the Reiki work. And I would say in a couple of months, she looked like a brand new person. She looked like a person that wasn't weighed down by life anymore. And she started being able to really align with her goals. And it was a beautiful thing to watch.
With Reiki, you can help people release their pain and guilt. Would you say these could be issues from their childhood, a past life?
Aren't all of our issues from childhood? So,
oh, yes.
We all have baggage from childhood. So yes, absolutely, that can help. Now, I have had some interesting experiences where the pain in the body was derivative from a past life experience. I had somebody, the way I saw it and they felt it, they were having a sharp pain in their left upper shoulder, like in the front, I guess your pectoral area up by your shoulder. And when I went to work on them, the visual I kept getting was a broadsword, like they had been stabbed with a broadsword. And so energetically, I removed and paid attention to that spot and sealed and loved on it. And she hasn't had pain in her shoulder since. So in my opinion, yes, absolutely. It could be something from a past life.
Did she realize it was from a past life, or is that something that you helped her discover?
I think we discovered it together, if I'm being honest. Mainly when I saw a broadsword and I was like, what in the world? Because I feel like if you had been stabbed with a giant sword in today's lifetime, you might have mentioned that when you were telling me your shoulder was hurting. Because she does have very strong warrior energy, it was something we kind of came to together and discovered.
You said something about being a business owner. Other than Sisters of Fate, your new store that will be opening soon, what other business do you own? Does it have anything to do with Reiki, tarot?
Thank you so much for asking. So I run under SUZE Intuitive Arts. And under that umbrella, I do my tarot, I do Reiki, but I also do administrative work. So I have the blessing of helping other people hit their goals. And it's something I enjoy doing. So I'm a great executive assistant now. I do have freelance clients that I do that for, but primarily the business is tarot, Reiki, and then I have some freelance clients. And then Sisters of Fate, which is the retail.
With your freelance clients, do you incorporate the tarot readings and Reiki guidance?
That's a great question. One of my clients is a medium. And so, yes, absolutely. Just like we kind of trade services in that respect. There are times where I am having a struggle, and that the client may be having a struggle, and if they're open to it, I absolutely will bring tarot in because it's such a great tool for perspective. It's something I'm open to if the client is open to.
So here you have a client who's a medium. You said psychic medium or medium?
Psychic medium. She's a mentor of mine. Psychic medium Leslie Whirling. Amazing.
So it's amazing that psychic mediums need help too.
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Because the tarot is a tool of perspective, right? Like it is a divination tool, absolutely. But in my opinion, primarily it's a tool of perspective. So you can use that in order to help you see a blind spot or help remove you and place you in that neutral setting to be like, oh, I see what's going on, or maybe even understand somebody else's motive, which you may be misinterpreting, right? The other aspect of that is that oftentimes, and I assume this happens to other readers, but sometimes you'll be trying to read the tarot for yourself and you're too close to the fire and the whole thing looks like, I say it looks like mashed potatoes to me. Like I cannot compute it. And so I have to go to somebody else and say, hey, do you mind giving me a reading, right? And a lot of tarot readers will tell you, oh, you shouldn't read for yourself. I don't like telling people what to do. I think you should do what your heart tells you to do, and you'll never be led astray. But for me, I prefer to get the reading from somebody else because oftentimes it does look like mashed potatoes to me.
Yeah, because it's a whole different perspective when somebody else is reading for you. It's objective. We look into the reading, our own reading, the way we want the outcome to come, you know? Mm-hmm. We have a desired outcome, and here that's what we're looking for, and we may overlook something or not get the whole reading at all.
I agree with you 100%. I actually, when I was in the process of buying a house, is probably the last time I did a tarot reading for myself. And the reason is, I can already hear my guides laughing.
Okay, I'm going to laugh with you too. Tell us.
Every day, do I do this? Do I do this? Am I going to get it? Am I going to get it? Am I going to get it? And I wasn't listening to the answers I was being given. So the last time that I read tarot for myself, the answer I got was like, no, fine. You're not listening. You're not getting shit. Nothing. Is that what you wanted to hear? No. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Okay, so are you saying that you had one house in mind that you really wanted and the tarot was telling you something else?
I'm saying that I had two houses that I was looking at. One would require me to move. And they kept telling me the answer was one, but I kept second guessing. And I did this repetitively over a period of a week and a half. And finally, they were like, you're not going to get either, basically, because they were so tired of me asking and not listening to the guidance I was receiving. Because as I was like going through the week, as you say, I would get elevated or anxious or whatever, and it would flip-flop for me which one I thought was the better idea. So I'd go to my tarot. Well, when spirit tells you something and you don't listen, I'm sure as several of your listeners are aware, the patience is there, but eventually it's going to be a little less patience of an answer. It's something I see in love readings a lot.
Tell us about the love readings. What do you see?
So oftentimes if someone is getting a love reading from me, they already know the answer and they don't like the answer, or they've had a reading on it before from somebody else. Because in my experience, when I get love readings, most of the time, the guidance is that they need to focus on themselves, or that the other person doesn't have the best intentions, or that they've already been told and they already know in their gut that this is something they need to move on from. They're not listening. They're clinging, right?
What you're saying is when they come to you for a love reading, subconsciously they already know that there's a problem and they're hoping that you're going to tell them they're going to live happily ever after.
Yes. Or like they're going to get that person back in their life is a pretty common one. And I've had people ask me, oh, do you do love spells to get my ex back? Absolutely not. I do not. I don't do anything that affects another person's free will. That's against my value set, and in my opinion, should be against everybody's value set. And if they stay on the phone longer with me after that comment, I say, do you really want somebody that doesn't want to be with you by themselves? It doesn't make sense to force somebody, right? That's against, it's like a form of abusing consent.
You said on the phone, do you offer your readings virtually?
I do. I prefer to do everything in person because that's the type of person I am. But I can absolutely do a tarot reading via Zoom. So like you don't have to be in Bastrop to see me. The energy work, while it can be done remotely, I prefer to do in person. I often include sound work in that with like singing bowls and tuning forks and the like, bells, rattles. And I also usually do a smoke cleanse of some sort. So the Reiki I prefer to do in person. The tarot reading, though, I can email you a tarot reading. I can do it over the phone if you want. We can do it over Zoom so we can see each other, or I can do it in person.
How can we find you if we would like a tarot reading and your other services?
Thank you. My website is SUZEintuitivearts.com. You can also find me on social media. Instagram is SUZE_intuitivearts.com. And I spell SUZE with an E, so SUZE. I have an English major for her husband, and he let me know if you need that ooze in there, you got to have that E on the end. Yeah, you can find me there. You can find me on Facebook. I encourage you to look at Sisters of Fate as well. The Instagram tag for that is Sisters of Fate, BTX, B as in boy, or Bastrop. And same thing on Facebook, Sisters of Fate.
Sisters of Fate. I'll put all your links in the episode notes.
Thank you so much.
You have a separate Instagram for Sisters of Fate. Mm-hmm. And then your other social media is SUZE Intuitive Arts.
Yes.
Do you have a particularly magical moment from your journey as an intuitive guide and business owner?
Oh, gosh. That's such a good question. And first thought is, how do I pick one? It should be noted that I am the type of person that looks like for magical moments every moment of my day. That's what gets me through in life. Let me go with a recent one. I'm in a big transition in my life personally. I'm getting Sisters of Fate off the ground. And I think anytime somebody is going for the big push, there's a little bit of self-doubt that comes up, right? And when I tell you people in my circle have shown up and shown out in ways that I never expected, I'm not kidding. It's as if, even though I was keeping it to myself, the universe sent out a call that was like, hey, Suze needs to know she's on the right path. And there have been things that have lined up, from work to additional clients to money showing up so that I can keep working on the shop. to more personally having within seeing angel numbers all the time, the synchronicities. Most recently, I had to let go of someone in my life, and I felt some kind of way about that. It's like, oh, am I bad for doing that? And within the week, I saw a black vulture. I smelled white diamonds. The perfume. I don't know if you remember that perfume. It used to be an Elizabeth Taylor perfume. And then I saw a raven. And, I know there are some people that are out there is like, oh, so you saw some birds. Well,
what did those birds mean to you?
Those birds and I have special relationships. So most birds mean something. And a vulture, if you think about it, is something that could represent death or an ending, right? But so cycle of life, because death isn't ever for me like a fear thing. It's like a recognition of a cycle. But it's also a bit recycling, right? They clean up the mess. They do dirty work other people don't want to do.
And we need them.
And maybe a personal opinion, but they're a little majestic. Like they're very powerful creatures to be around. The raven for me is mixed because it is also death. I was a big Edgar Allan Poe fan when I was a kid, and quote the raven, I was like, oh, we've got a symbol of death, right? But also ravens hold a certain mysticism or wisdom for me that my mentor Laura actually reminded me of yesterday. That, I don't know, it's third eye energy. I wouldn't know how else to place it in English words. But that too is a very powerful symbol, and one I've been looking and waiting for a long time. Been wanting to see a raven, and I saw one yesterday on the way to meet with a group of Reiki practitioners, and I was like, I am coming into full alignment with who I am and who I want to be. They're becoming the same person, and that's a good feeling. And you asked like how that relates to business because of your original question. In so many ways, it relates to my business. When I'm using my gifts to the fullest, I am doing what I do best. I'm helping people through tarot. I'm helping people through Reiki. I'm supporting people. I'm holding safe space for folks. I'm helping them achieve and succeed. And that's what I like to do in life. I like to tend to the garden that I've been placed in, and that's how I do it.
It sounds like you love what you do.
I really do. I really do. I would do tarot and Reiki if we lived in a system where they accepted hugs and love for utility bills. I would absolutely do it for free.
What advice do you give the listeners today? Is there any piece of advice for the listeners?
You have to listen to your heart and your gut. These are the primary drivers in your guidance system, and they will not steer you wrong. You'll be surprised where they lead you because they ask you to take risks, but those risks are never without payoff. My other thing is question everything. If it doesn't resonate, it's not for you. Question every single thing. You are here to explore and to learn, not take what somebody else says at face value and act as if that's how you should live your life. If I give a reading, I tell you, take what resonates and leave the rest. You should question everything. You should absolutely question everything, and let your gut kind of lead the way on that too, right?
If you listen to your gut and your heart and don't let your head get in the way, follow your gut, follow your heart, and things will usually fall into place the way they're supposed to, with rewards.
I 100% agree. I mean, that's really all you need to know in life. It's my understanding and my belief that we are moving into a period of time, and we're moving into an age where energetically the only way to move forward is by listening to your heart, by doing the things that resonate in your heart space. And the sooner we understand that as humankind, the sooner things will get a lot more comfortable for everyone on the planet.
Yes, I believe that. Thank you, Suze, for being on my show, talking about tarot and Reiki and this fabulous new shop you're going to open that has fabulous clothing and classes.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's been fantastic.
It's been fantastic. You're adorable.
Thank you for joining us for Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon. Have a burning question or have a topic you'd love Theodora and her guests to discuss on the show? Contact her through Instagram at Theodora Pendragon. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And help us spread the word by leaving us a rating and review and sharing it with your friends. See you next time, and may your magic always shine.